Okay, thank you.
Morning.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone, for your comments. Where am I here? Adjourn to closed session. We have a need to go into closed session, so may I have a motion?
Motion.
I got to read the reasons first.
As we used to do.
Second.
May I have a motion to adjourn to closed session to discuss the purchase or lease of real property for the use of the district, including meetings held for the purpose of discussing whether a particular parcel should be acquired, the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the district or legal counsel for the district, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee or against legal counsel for the district to determine its validity. Motion?
Motion.
Second, please.
Second.
Excellent. The board will not be taking any action when it returns from closed session. Thank you and have a good night.
Aye.
Roll call.
Can we do that?
Mr. Alger?
Yes.
Mr. Bochenski?
Yes.
Mr. Solano?
Yes.
Mr. Ellis?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening.
You're going to take a 2 minute break?
Yeah. I know more where you're from. Sometimes. Even though you're wrong.
You don't even know me. I'm wrong. You don't
even
even
though you're wrong having some.
You don't even know me.
Yeah, last night I told you you were wrong 3 quarters. Now I'm only saying half that.
I'm getting better. Oh, I threw my roster.
People tend to keep it out. So they told us that we're doing it. So guys have to be able to I think I told them this back and forth. This and the board members. I'm skeptic. But anyways, I think that's the general feeling. People say, yeah, it's got it.
Yeah.
That's why all you have to do is get I remember. Yeah, I appreciate it. They may have. On the other piece. That door. They're ready for beams. Yeah. Joe make it back in? Joe? No, I lost Joe.
All right.
John, how did you like science? How did you like science? We were there with the school, right? I read your presentation.
Science? Oh. This is unbelievable. Did you do Bryce?
We drove to Brighton.
Thank you. For coming out. No problem. Thanks for running number with the I heard you up at 87. I told Erica there's not going to be a shred of media here with 87. We still get media. Yeah, we got more than one person. Okay. So I'm sure it's well covered up there. Yeah. We split up. Okay. Well, it's nice to have you here.
Okay. And next one is I'm in, but I have to. All right. Thank you.
What was that on? Which one are you talking about?
Bye, guys.
That was, that to me tells you you're producing nothing. The minute you say we were disrespectful to John, there's no way that matters. Springdale and Rath said we were disrespectful to John. When? I want to say when.
He didn't agree.
Because I just
He doesn't agree.
I mean, then you know what? I'm disrespectful to like 90% of the freaking people.
No, I don't even think my family agrees.
No.
We got lots of
My son, my daughter definitely, she's in church. My son, I get him about 50% of the time, and half of that's just weird walk.
He's not really listening.
He's not really listening. Good. That might be his favorite word.
They get free.
I mean, at what time was anybody disrespecting your job? Man, I know Lori was.
There was no disrespect whatsoever to any board member. There's a...
Did you vote differently? If anybody showed disrespect, it was probably because it could call out.
Josh doesn't matter.
And then they'll have housekeeping.
Tonight, you gave them what they wanted, and they're still mad at you.
All right, guys, let's get the show on the road, huh? Enough dilly-dallying.
No, more public participation.
I know.
Even when we do that, they're mad at you.
Wait, you're not giving us enough.
I know. My God, we're opening up.
You want to try something?
The only thing they want is for everybody to switch places.
By the way, I took a vote. There you go. Everybody in the audience that lives in Glen Ellyn.
Seeing a quorum of the Board of Education Seeing a quorum of the Board of Education gathered today on the date of... Did you turn that thing on yet? No. Seeing a quorum of the Board of Education gathered today, August 11th at 10:30 p.m.
Hold on. He hasn't got it.
I couldn't see
Seeing
anything.
the quorum of the Board of Education gathered today. Seeing the quorum of the Board of Education gathered today. Are you on?
Come on, we're losing money on the state.
Seeing a quorum of the Board of Education gathered today, August 11th at 10:30 o'clock. I love that. O'clock at Central Services location for the purpose of holding a closed meeting in order to confidentially discuss. I got to read these again. Purchase, lease, or real property for the use of the district, including meetings held for the purpose of discussing whether a particular parcel should be acquired, the point of employment, compensation, discipline, performance, specific employees, district legal counsel, including testimony, claim of option employee, legal counsel of the district, and certain validity.
Thanks for leaving hair on.
I call the meeting to order. In order to record who is present, I request that each individual state his or her name and position with the district.
Drew Ellis, board member. Patrick Escalante, board member.
Lori Campbell.
Joe Bochensky, board member.
Dean Elder, board member.
Paul Gordon, superintendent.
John Kenwood, board member, president. All right, let's go. Failure to meet a call person out or who strays from the purposes included in the motion may result in appearance of acquiescence. This responsibility call board out of each board member in the event of El Presidente's failure.
Perfect. This will be a conversation that Joe and I will tag team, just talking about the Park District. We had a meeting with them last week. It was a good meeting. I was somewhat surprised as we discussed land opportunities with them. Joe did a really nice job of kind of laying out what are we looking for. We're looking for this mutually beneficial partnership with the Park District. What does that look like? They offered up fairly quickly Maine. Just as quickly, we're like, not quite the mutually beneficial kind of property we're looking at. They kind of danced around a few other areas with Ackerman. Joe did a nice job of saying, would you ever consider Newton? And to both of our surprise, they were willing to entertain the conversation while it is kept 100% behind closed doors and in closed session, because that could hurt them greatly in other conversations. But I'll hand it over to Joe with some
There covered a couple key takeaways, and the gist of it was Paul and I presented that the idea that we're at this crossroads, we're picking a site. Once we pick it, Dean's words, I stole them. Last time we built the new building was 50 years ago. So the next one, based on that, will be sometime in the second half of this century. The three things that were clear as we left the meeting were that spring is not an option for us. It's off the table.
They know that.
They
want it.
They
told you.
They have it.
That was a surprise.
It's not for us to have.
Yeah, really?
They gave us a report. Now, that could change, but they gave us a report that they and I was going to offer this up to Drew next, and I'm happy that we have 3 copies amongst us so we can hand them around. But it was done in March, and I kind of actually heard this from the village, too, because I was doing some business, and Stacy Hallsberg must have read this because she knew that it was not on the table. Basically, this report is, we want to get rid of Main Street or Spring. What should we do? And at the end of the day, I read it. It kind of says, if you're going to get rid of it, can't get rid of Spring. Go ahead and get rid of Main if you could, but you probably won't, and you probably shouldn't get rid of it either. That was my take on it. So that was kind of news because we kind of played it as our alternative site. The other thing is
on the Spring though. So Paul, I felt I heard something different from you, that they said it would cost us too much to have them move out of Spring, not that it was off the table.
Jay, the doctor? He was the one who indicated it would cost you way too much money.
But did they literally say it's off the table?
John, you got a report?
Yeah.
Did you read it?
Yeah.
Because it basically
That's
says
what the consultant says.
They have so much administration office there that they can't replace it. And John was pretty clear. Jay was pretty clear.
I thought he was.
That they could. No, nothing's off the table.
Yeah.
That's for certain. But it was clear that it wasn't something that was going to be easy to grapple with. They went through how we'd have political problems with the dog park.
Yeah. I mean, my perception is they don't want to sell it because it's the location they'd like to keep. But my perception is also that it's not off the table. It's just going to cost more. That's my perception. Yeah. But if you guys are saying they said... I
don't think the location mattered.
No,
from their perspective. It's not a location.
No. It's the facility they want to keep.
Oh, I got it.
Right, it's the one they want to
keep.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you guys are saying they said it was off the table, I just want to make sure we're clear that that's what they said and not these little...
I guess my surprise is that they really, there was a lower probability that would be there. Nothing's off the table. So
right. I just want to clarify.
I was hyperbole for
okay. Right.
But it was a surprise that it really wasn't in the...
I thought that's where we're going to be talking about.
That's where they keep talking about, and it was over. and then they brainstormed about different sites with surprising enough, at Newton, they started talking amongst themselves. We just sat back, and they decided where the building should go. And they asked if we were interested.
Is that the southeast corner?
Southeast corner. They said as far away from John's house. I thought what Jay said. He did. And
did he actually say that?
Yeah. Of sorts. I'm not living in it, but it was the gist of it. It was the gist of it.
I know those guys.
And,
that's what it came across.
And he asked for us if we would, and we didn't say we would. We said we would investigate if we would put that on a site plan, and Paul and his team were going to figure that out to see how much acreage was needed. Because it was hard for us to conceptualize there how much it would be taking and of the sort. Now, we went in with this with, hey, we're going to go and spend all this money somewhere. What are the synergies? We're building fields as part of our buildings and our sites, and you can use those. You are. But how can you use them ideally, and where can you use them ideally? And we have a budget item for that, and we're going to referendum. So tell us what you want. And they didn't know what to say, of course, because they didn't want to do a laundry list. So we kind of pulled it out of them. The other one was Ackerman, which we discussed. They discussed. There was like 14 possibilities.
Yeah, they're willing to sell Ackerman property pretty quickly.
They are. I mean, they were putting a building here, they were putting it there.
Putting it in the trees.
No, I think
Joe's is not being too far off of how he's portraying
let me tell you guys, that is such a significant departure from where they were, previously. And that Lennox Street.
Yeah, the Lennox option is new to me.
That's the one that they would probably...
They were pushing that one for you.
That's the one that they would probably lean to the most because they don't think they can do anything with that.
Yeah, I don't know Lennox enough, and they were going to send us some stuff on Lennox. I don't know if they haven't seen it.
The issue is there are two issues. I think there are still two properties that aren't theirs. Yep. I think one's a house and one's just a property.
Oh, really?
It might be two houses.
Well,
but
he said two.
Okay, two properties, and the other one is those damn trees.
Yeah.
And creepy trees. But you get to their parking. Here's the problem with Lennox, and this is what we talked to them about Lennox, John, and everybody. Is that there's really not many synergies with Lennox because you have a wetlands that you have to build a bridge to get to their parking, and maybe that would help us with parking. But it would be more self-contained, and I think, Paul, that's when you said, well, we're not interested. This isn't just about buying a property.
We got one.
We got one.
There's only one synergy that exists with the board members now, and that would be a pool.
Well, here's the thing.
And a turf field.
Well, the turf field is where...
That's what the other thing we learned, which I don't believe the data, but they said.
Yeah.
And we were trying to pull things out of them. What they said is they do not need physical facilities. They need fields.
They don't need what?
They don't need buildings.
They don't need
gyms.
inside.
Ackerman took care of their gyms.
Right.
They don't use our gyms the way they thought they were gonna.
Right.
So they probably want the money for it in RNGAs maybe, but they didn't say that. But what's clear is they need outdoor facilities. To start getting things going, I said, well, they kind of said, they wanted us to say, like what?
Yeah.
And so I said the obvious, turf field. And if we were able to contribute in some way to a turf field, and then that's where the conversation took off. They said a stat that I don't believe in. I think I heard it right.
You did.
That they, like at Newton, that field, they get 30 days out of the year of usage. With the turf field, they will get 300. But
no, that's completely inaccurate, and I've told them that a million times. And
you tell them their business?
Yeah, I did. I mean, what they do is they pulled some report about 2 years ago, and it just basically shows the time. Like it didn't include the Jamboree this weekend. It doesn't include that, right? It just talks about the regularly scheduled Eagles games.
Well, I think the thing it does do, in my understanding, and I've researched this, John. I think the thing it does do, it uses the fact that if it rained last weekend at the Jamboree, you weren't going to use it. Those fields would be unusable. And the difference is the fields are usable.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And that's it. I mean, quite
but that
frankly,
doesn't take you from 30 to 300.
Doesn't make
No,
sense.
it
doesn't take you from 30.
Unless you add lights. Because if you add lights, then you
that's a full building.
But wait a minute, they have lights there, though.
I know
they just bring them in portably. So it doesn't take you from 30 to 300.
But that's what they said.
Yeah.
I told you I didn't believe it. Paul and I told each other right afterwards we didn't believe it. But the positive thing is that they were brainstorming.
Yeah.
Now, this is the president and the vice president were there, along with their superintendent. They have other board members. For me, what I know is that I left there comfortable to know that as a board, we're trying all these options now. And our presentation to them opened them up to the idea that these two big land masses, the only two big ones in Glen Ellyn, are on the table. They may get pulled off in 2 minutes when they see a site plan or they talk to their 5 other board members, but at this point they're on. So I know that we're doing our job of vetting everything. And if it falls through and then we end up at Spalding, or maybe there's another option out there that comes out of the woodworks, then we can, at least we know these things were explored to what I consider our fullest ability. So I'd like to do what they asked, which was put a school, what we think a footprint on Newton so they can see it. And I would like, the Lennox property, there's no synergies, so I don't have...
there's no synergy at Newton either, right?
There is.
What is it?
That we start building, we have we can use the parking lot, we can use all their fields, we can use all those things.
Well, that'd be the same thing.
Multiple stories.
You go multiple stories.
But that'd be the same thing at that'd be the same thing at Ackerman. You just said there was no synergy.
We're going to walk our kids across. I mean, it does, from me, John, from my experience of site plan layout, when I do it in my head, I can't buy that. I'm going too far for my fields. I'm going across the wetlands where we have to build a bridge, which isn't a big deal. They describe that to be about 100 feet, maybe a little more. So that gets you to the parking lot. Then you go to the fields. I don't see that as an option in a site design for a school to utilize their fields. I'm certainly not going in there and utilizing their gym.
You may not see it, but you said they'd pretty much put a building anywhere on Ackerman.
No, I agree. I talked Lennox.
No, he said Lennox.
Right, okay, but that's Ackerman. So Lennox and Ackerman are connected.
Well, I agree, but
you may have to build a bridge, but they're connected.
Okay.
So there are synergies at Ackerman.
I agree with that statement, but I am, in my subset, I'm taking Lennox and separating it from Ackerman. Because the area of Ackerman that they discussed being the most likely that these three gentlemen talked about would be the hub. The softball hub.
As a place to put a school?
Yes. Move the hub to the north.
Okay.
They want to redo the hub. They don't utilize the number of softball fields that are out there. They're redoing that area anyways, as you've seen in their master plan, most likely.
So, I mean, there'd be synergies there, right?
I agree. That's my Ackerman synergies.
Right. Okay.
My Lennox synergies, I don't see any. Okay. So my Ackerman, I do. I mean, they talked about putting it to the west of their current facility a little, but that it was, there's less discussion there, I think. And some of it, I will say, on the hub thing, I was kind of forcing it there. I mean, I was, because in my mind, I couldn't figure out where else to put it on the Ackerman. So I think that's, some of that was forced.
Years ago, it was the northwest corner.
There was some discussion of that. But,
Years ago, there was a school in Northwest Park?
No, that's a good...
No, years ago, the solution was to put a school on Ackerman and attach Ackerman Sports Center to it, and we would share the facility. That was the original. That's what we brought to the village, to the Park District Board.
They talked about it,
and they killed it. They said, no, we're not in the different regime.
Different financial straits.
Yeah.
Well, they basically said we're not in the business of killing green space. We're in the business of adding green space.
Right. And I think the difference was when we brought up the discussion about enhancing their green space with capital that would turn into turf. I mean, Jay actually started moving money around with different budgets.
Because when Jay first started, it was very much, why are you doing this? You're already taxing us basically way too much. So now you're going to do a referendum, and he had a quick switch. And then he became very excited about it, and started talking. And then he left. Had to go do surgery.
But he left.
It's always cool when you're a doctor because everybody believes you. I gotta go.
He looked at his beeper and he left. And Dave and Gary were sitting around still talking. And then Paul had a beeper.
Yeah. I didn't have a beeper though.
No, you had somebody tapping at the door. John, you're out.
Did we get the budget thing signed by everybody?
But no, Jay did switch when it became. It was probably a perfect day to meet with them because of the swimming pool discussion that night, which they approved.
They approved to move
because
forward.
They're looking ways to partner with people for their facilities and for their budget needs. So I think it's clear that they're open-minded after this, but I don't want to say that it means that either two are good options for us or that they'll take them. It's just that they're open where they want to open.
Yeah.
Do you think they would be considered for like a school pool combo thing?
They describe where that pool's going. I do not think the pool is part of our discussion. I think they're done with that.
It's up to the voters.
They're going to get it approved. It's $14 million on the low end. And
it's not going to get approved.
You don't think so? You think people are going to reject it?
Yes.
Then it's going to be on the table.
More than Ackerman cost.
$14 million?
Yeah. Ackerman was 11 supposedly.
I think final numbers. The first was 11.
But then it ended in like 11-ish.
Didn't we vote and approve 7, and it ended up at 11?
Yeah.
Really? That's all I can cost us $11 million for that?
Well, then they had to put the roof back
Had
on.
to fix it.
14.
That was 11 million. I mean, that's what it cost.
So at the end of the day, I think, as Joe's articulated, that it was a good conversation. Not sure exactly where it's going to go, but we were surprised that I felt like that Jay was telling us it is going to cost way too much money for you to buy us out of Spring. Spring is where we're at. Here's Maine. But they were very open to discussing a little bit more, but really wanted to make sure that it was closed session conversations, that it wasn't out in the public. That's the last thing they need right now with them moving forward with a referendum. But I thought it was very positive.
Well, how are we going to take our facilities conversations forward, knowing that we can't talk about Maine for another opportunity?
Well, the nice piece is nobody wants Maine.
Not Maine. You mean
Nobody.
Newton or...
No, we can buy Maine today if we want.
Oh.
Yeah, they'd give it to us for $1.
They
just want that thing off their
report
plate.
tells you not to take Maine, and it's obvious you don't want it. It's a great location. They're going to end up keeping it. It's a good hub for them.
Yeah.
Or spoke for them, whatever. It keeps that area.
So the only question is, sounds like the question is, what do we think is worth spending dollars to potentially invest? And it sounds like it's either Newton or Akron.
Well, I would propose doing site plans on both where Ron feels. You have to go southeast because they dictated that. You do a footprint. You do something simple. You just do a footprint of a building to show them that you're going to take and where you're going to put the parking. You're going to add parking where those basketball courts are or somewhere. So you say, we're going to use 4 acres. We're going to increase your parking spots that you have there now from 12 in this area to 72 or whatever it is, because they need parking there, as you know. We live right there. So that's one option. Either we do that or we don't. If we don't, it's not an option for us to explore, to continue to explore. Mm-hmm. And then at Ackerman, I would lean on Ron and his team to say, hey, if we had limited acres here, we have a gym here, where would you put it?
Beneficial.
Would be beneficial. Because quite frankly, being at Ackerman, do you need to build a gym? Can our kids go outside to the gym? I don't know that they can. We're not going to attach to Ackerman. I don't know these.
Well, I think you'd have to attach to Ackerman.
I think so too.
I mean, I think you'd have to attach to Ackerman.
I don't really think that. I think it'd be a tough sell in the community.
How do you do a security plan for that?
How do you do a security?
Junior high and everybody going out and in and out of that building. I mean,
because they sold it as a community resource center, and now all of a sudden we're taking it over from 8 a.m. till 3. They didn't talk about that at all.
They didn't talk about it.
I think it's the only way. So unless it's a pool or a field, right? If you're going pool, field.
Yeah, they said outdoor facilities. The pool thing. The pool is, if it loses, John, then it might be
if the small synergy is the field, then you don't have to attach.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's what they see.
And really,
they don't want our gym. That's
they don't.
When I left that meeting, I'm like, we could build a gym. You know,
they didn't want anything to do with indoor space.
And they went into this big discussion.
They don't have enough. They don't have enough utilization today from 8 to 3 in the afternoon on those gyms.
Here's the thing. The football, he went into a big example, and I didn't even know this, where everybody practices football, and how Village Greens gets torn up, and the baseball people are mad because their football is running, and it's high school 87, and I'm like, wow, you really don't have any space. Mm-hmm. I mean, they don't have fields, you know, so... well, it doesn't matter, but go ahead. And the minute one of those fields gets muddy, those kids, that's when it gets all beat up. And they have to the maintenance of that is huge. I mean, if you're ripping apart 6 different fields in the Glen Ellyn Park District, but for football, the cost to put those back together the next spring is huge, and that's where the turfs, are sitting there. And soccer, and I know they talked about a soccer field. So to me, the word synergy was brought up by Gary. Mm-hmm. He kept hitting on synergies. Give us something with synergy. I understand this. We got to go for a referendum. To me, it then becomes a co-op referendum. We're bringing people on, be it football people or swimming people, whatever it ends up being. And I think that's a positive for a referendum. I think in my mind, guys, where I get confused is if you go to Newton to me is a junior high, and if you do the junior high, our budget goes up, but then you have, here, which gives you a lot more flexibility for full-day kindergarten, for special ed.
Changes a lot
of things when Hadley comes in.
So you don't see Newton as a K through 5?
I really don't, because you need to go vertical to keep your footprint small, John, and you can't go vertical on a K through 5.
And you guys, my gut reaction to that, not because it's Newton, but my gut reaction to that is, are we saying we're going for a junior high? Because that's going to really drive up costs.
No, I know. That's what I said. It takes your budget way up.
I mean, I don't know what a site plan costs, but why even spend the money if that's what you think it is?
But that goes to like his point though. It'd be a co-op, right? So I mean, we'd cost share with the park.
But the operations of that building
before we join the board.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about, right? The ed fund.
Well,
weren't we just talking about building the junior high right before here with the land over Wheaton?
Yeah, before.
Wasn't that the whole plan?
The script building, you guys were building the junior high.
Yeah, but we weren't building, so maybe I misunderstood you. You were saying a junior high for all the kids or just part of the kids?
All the kids. And Hadley becomes an elementary school.
I thought I heard you say
no.
A small junior high.
No.
That would be part of the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade.
No.
Okay, that's different then. Okay.
No, I meant full.
Same plan as Wheaton.
I thought you were saying 2 junior highs.
No.
That's why I was saying the operation.
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, you're right there. That'd be true.
No. One junior high, and then Hadley becomes our other K through 5.
And it could house this building. Hadley could.
And then
you could sell this building. You could bring in special ed. You got
again.
Full-day kindergarten.
No,
and it will take
that's
the
the thing.
I could only see Newton being a K through 5. Because if you're looking to put a junior high, we got 1,000 kids.
How many square feet? Do you know it? How much the junior high is? Because I was trying to do this.
Well, you need. What's the acreage? What's the acreage at?
7 or 8.
It's 18 acres.
Oh, Hadley's huge.
Yeah, but how much?
So the footprint of the school.
But you can go 3 stories, John. The world changes.
Oh, you can't go. You think you get 3 stories?
Oh, everything around you is 3 stories.
Condos are 3 stories.
No, that's true.
Everything's 3 stories. So in 3, you don't want to. The reason everything's 3 stories, and Jack's not here, but you don't want to go 4 because it changes your steel, and then if you go 4, you might as well go 7. So that's why you see a lot of 3-story buildings.
So you would probably need 7 acres.
I don't think you need that much. You know how many square feet?
We got to increase the parking.
Yeah, but they need parking. So
that's what
right, but I'm just saying that's part of the acreage.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to look at it as we got. How big is that park? 30 acres, you think?
No. I don't think it's anywhere close to 30.
What do you think it is?
Oh, maybe it is 30 acres.
I think it is.
That goes pretty far into the southwest corner.
I have the aerial. I sent it to you.
Yeah.
I
mean, let's just. I'm guessing it's close to 30 acres.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's got to be 30.
So you probably need 8. The way they're going to look at it, I would think, is what are you taking away from that? And it's probably going to be 8 acres when you factor in the parking and the egress.
Yeah, parking's a big plus for them because they need it bad.
Yeah, they have a terrible parking problem.
We redesign it. They get rid of you're going to take one of the area of parking where their basketball courts are. So to me, I don't know. It's something Ron can figure.
I think that's our next move.
I'm guessing. All I know is we built 40,000 square feet in downtown Wheaton in 3 stories. On a 15,000 square foot footprint, which is less than it's almost a quarter of an acre. So if I could put a bunch of those in a row, what is that? I put 6 of those in a row. I'm at 240,000
we have over 100,000
square
square feet at Hadley, right?
Yeah,
right around there.
And I just did 240. I did 240 with 6 of those in a row, which then gets you to do a 2-acre footprint plus parking. Parking's 2 acres. So in my mind, I start looking at that. I don't have a gym in there, but the gym's another 11,000 square feet or something like that. I mean, you're only talking about 4.5 acres. But Ron's got to lay it out, and I think that's.
So I think that's the most important piece. Because one of the people who were not 100% sold on it was Dave Harris.
Yeah, the superintendent.
He was just like, I mean, he didn't say he caught himself pretty quick.
Because it's their job.
Yeah, he was just like, there's no way. But he pulled himself back
and
from doing that.
He did say, if you're going to put it on it.
He told us he was the one who told us
exactly where to put it.
So I think
it wasn't where you would have
thought. It's odd that he would say the southeast corner, not the...
Southeast corner makes the most sense.
Not the, wait, Mike mix up my east.
I thought
you want to go by, you want to go
Southeast is across from...
you want to go to Sunrise.
Sunrise.
You want to go to Sunrise.
South.
It's the corner of Sunrise
Yeah,
and the post
okay,
office.
yeah, you're right. I was thinking...
That's where it belongs.
I was thinking on a fair...
We didn't say that. I mean, that's where I always thought it belonged. I mean, I met with you and talked to you about my Newton idea.
So one of the things that Joe brought up that's important is you build junior high, you haven't done the full day kindergarten thing.
Wait a minute, guys. That's not even in our boundary.
No, it's not.
We can fix that.
We just did next to it. Make those 3 happy.
That's not our boundary.
No, it's 89.
That was the whole thing. That's what I'm thinking.
You can annex it in. We just annexed 3 properties next to it.
It's got no taxes.
No,
They don't care about it.
the Park District property is not in our...
I know, it's in 89.
But there's no
there's
taxes
3
in it.
houses next to it. The tax-
Right, so you think 89 is going to say, go for it?
It's not. It's a non-taxing piece of land.
So what are you saying? We can just take it?
Well, 89 will say you can have it. There's no reason for
Why
them
would
to fight it.
I mean, first of all, this Park District, if they agree with it, and we're contributing $750,000, let's say, to a field, they're going to be for it.
But we still, now again, I'm going back a ways, but we still, maybe you talk to Todd, but we still have to get that property in. Someone has to redraw the boundary.
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
We would go through the same process.
There's a lot of ifs here. It's just
it truly is an opportunity just to look at it, to see if it works, and for us to throw a footprint down. I'm not asking Ron to do a whole lot of schematics or spend a whole lot of money on this.
So what's the budget for what you're asking?
To me, Ron should
we're
throw
doing it.
my world.
In the rest of our world?
Think about Ron, though. If you're his, suddenly I'm like, I got a K through 5 over here on Spalding, or I can do design drawings and full construction drawings. This is how the real world works. On a junior high,
3 stories.
How fast do you
I'm all in. I'm drawing.
Yeah, or he's thinking this is a waste of time. I'm not going to do it for free.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the other part.
I think
we could see when we talk to Ron.
If I were in his shoes, I'd be like, this ain't going nowhere.
I think as long as we just do the footprint,
Yeah.
that's going to be the most important thing. And then giving it back to that group that we met with, so they can either say yay or nay. This is crazy. This ain't going to happen.
And then the question is, do we look at Ackerman after that, or do we do them simultaneous? If you guys have a preference, you do the first one you have a preference on, so that you don't give them both and give them an option.
Yeah.
Right. I
think
go
you
with
guys-
your philosophy. We're shooting high.
Yeah.
We'll negotiate second when we have to negotiate second.
And here's the thing.
Is there any synergy there, though? I mean, again, because we're going to have to buy property now over at Ackerman. And the reason why Newton makes sense is we're going to get something out of it. We're going to save money.
Well, no, we could do
It doesn't make sense to me.
No, here's the thing. Either way, we can do turf field on either facility for them. They want a soccer turf field. They can get a soccer turf field if that's what they need. But what I read is this. This is where my whole.
If they want a turf field, they're already getting one at Newton.
They want to.
They said that.
They do.
So they're saying conflicting things, but maybe it's because you guys are in closed session. They said they can't put a turf field
on the lower ball?
On the lower piece. They said they can't.
In fact, it was conflicting in our discussion.
Because they said it floods.
I think Dave was leaning to yes, and Jay was
saying
no. And then Gary was like, things have changed.
Mm-hmm.
But
that much is true.
But there's also people on their board, as you probably know, that want no turf fields.
Well, the other people I know on the board would like to figure a way to get a field on Ackerman, and the Lakers are thinking of contributing money to it.
Yeah, so here's the thing, for me, and I know I talked to Dean and others about this, Patrick and stuff, but when you looked at the budget of the script that you guys had, because that was all put together.
The budget for what?
Script when you were going to do it.
When
you guys did all that, we got that after we all got on the board. The budget for the outside facilities was huge. Building a field, bringing all the dirt in, and doing all that. It was over $2 million. You already have everything there. All you're doing is taking your $2 million or whatever it was, and I'd say go back to it, and reducing it to whatever you're contributing to them.
Well, the reason for the that budget was because of that Scripture Press floods as well as the fields at southeast corner. Because you do have grade issues there, right?
Southeast is higher, and then it goes down.
Right.
Southeast is
So, I mean, it may not be $2 million, but that was also a much larger parcel, right? It might end up being...
We don't know what you're talking about.
No.
I don't know.
No?
But you're also going to have to
She just
change...
decided to hang out.
You want to hear about it?
You also... Yeah, she doesn't say that.
It's good discussion, though.
You also are going to have to make some changes to the road there. Like the road between Sunrise and the park, that's not going to be a wide enough road.
No,
You're going to have to widen that road.
But you could probably, you probably could do it off Nicole if you had your across from. We're getting site planning stuff.
Are we going to have any U.S. government issues with the post office right there and distance and all that other stuff?
No, it's the post office. You should be fine. It's a commercial area, and
I thought we're closing on the post office.
Yeah, you're going to have to widen the road for sure because you can't take a school bus.
yeah, what street is
Oh,
that?
down that street by you'd have to double that road.
So what I'd like to do is just put some footprints on both. Have Ron do that fairly inexpensively.
So is this like less than $1,000?
I'm thinking we've got to be somewhere in that neighborhood. Pretty cheap.
You know
just
what?
To look
If you won't do it for less than that, then let's see if there's another architect who'd like to throw a bid in. Here, would you be interested in doing this for less than $1,000? Who knows?
And I think you could, just looking at practical size, what does it look like over at Newton? So we can get that done. So we can get that to the other board and say, yay or nay. So we can have a better conversation.
And I think it's a waste of time, but if it gets them to say yay or no, yay, and get us off this to move forward, I would do it.
Because I think we're closer on spring. We know spring's no longer.
Well, I mean, I think what it comes down to, John, is the waste of time, and I know that I'm hitting on the point here because it's.
But if it gets us a yes or no quickly,
I know, but to me, it's like we have Spalding, and that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, we could look at other opportunities.
Now we have Spalding.
I don't know, maybe there's other opportunities out there, but when you're down to one thing, you gotta
look. You gotta go to Hail Mary.
Because once we put a shovel in the ground, you're done. You're done
50
for 50 years.
right.
So,
Well, and to that point, I think that junior high will end up taking more acreage, and we're just better off putting a K through 5 on Spalding. But I'm good. I mean, I don't think we're going to get there, but
if you don't try, you never will. That's the point, right?
All right. So I think I've got a good enough direction.
okay.
With
so
that,
you're doing Spalding. You're doing Ackerman and
with very cost effective.
And we're not attaching to the
but
gym.
We're not presenting that.
No, we're not. This
It's just between us.
Yours
Don't
goes nowhere.
let them know that we're doing Ackerman.
You guys present. The three of you present whatever gets presented. Yeah, you guys.
Nobody.
I know what you're talking about.
All right, can we close this?
You don't even return calls anymore.
Yeah, you're really bad.
Do we have a motion?
We got to.
Oh, I thought we had one more item.
No, that was it.
That's what I asked. She's sitting here, and I'm like, why is she here?
We had the early.
No, I mean, not that you're always welcome, but you look a little tired. I think it's funny that
May I have a
Maureen
motion to
gave me
adjourn the closed session?
Motion.
Second.
So is
Motion
Patrick and
carries.
Joe?
All say aye.
Aye.
Nay.
I open up to. You just want to do that again?
And
Someone
what
open
time?
the door, please.
11:06.
11:06.
One more for you, John.
All right, back in open session here. Thank you all for taking time to be in closed session. May I have a motion to close the open session meeting?
I have a motion to close the.
May I have a second to that?
I second the motion to open the
All right, we're done. Good
All
night.
here. Aye.
Everyone say aye, aye, aye,
All right, leave everything here.
Aye, aye,
Aye, aye, aye. You turn that bad boy
I
off.
think it's just